Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be taking you through the best way, in my view, to get a silent assassin rating on all 5 levels of the Gladwyn Simulacrum Escalation contract on the Sapienza map, and this is all in the Hitman 3 game engine. Now you want to start for all of these stages as a gardener in the garden, which will have been fairly obvious if you've scoped out what the challenge is all about. You want to bring with you, obviously, an emetic syringe, which you just saw me use. Also bring any silenced pistol that you like. And in this playthrough, I have also got on me a lethal syringe, because I decided to use that once our first target here, Filiberto Nucci, has gone to the bathroom. I decide not to wait for the drowning opportunity and just to get the lethal syringe kill. But you can drown him once he gets to the toilet, which you'll see me do in some of the later levels, or you could take him out in any way you want. There's no conditionality here, so the essential ingredients are just make sure you have an emetic syringe and that you start as the gardener in the garden, and then you're pretty much sorted to get that first level ticked off. The exit we're going to use is, as you'll see, the one below the ruins. You need the silenced pistol to take out that camera. There's a couple of cameras in the area for the various levels of this contract which we'll want to shoot out, which is why I would always recommend on this contract bringing a silenced pistol. It really doesn't matter which one you want to bring as long as it is suppressed. Here you'll see me just scoping out whether there's anything down there. Obviously, if you know the route, you can go straight to the destination. So here we're just going to jump up into the ruins. We couldn't go in through the front because there is a gardener enforcer who will see through your disguise. But once you're inside the ruins through that back entrance, you can just proceed exactly as I'm showing you here, down to the speedboat that's moored behind the ruins. Just have to hop down several ledges, and there we go. That is the first level, relatively straightforward. Like I say, just remember to start as a gardener in the garden, bring an emetic syringe, bring a silenced pistol, you're golden. As you'll see in a moment, the escalation for level 2 is an additional target, Alexis Queso. So you'll see that I decided on this level actually to bring a silenced pistol, an emetic syringe, and also a distraction. I bought the remote audio distraction, but it really doesn't matter. You could use coins. Later on you'll see me use a crowbar as the distraction because I'd run out of gear slots. So all that matters is we've syringed the first target just as we did in the first level. Here is another camera that you're going to want to shoot out with your silenced pistol. The member of staff at the end there won't see you. She's not very observant from my experience, so she won't see you shoot that camera as long as you're not doing anything silly. So here you'll see I use the remote audio distraction to get the attention of the guard who is next to our second target, Alexis Queso.
Wait a minute.
And you'll see exactly there, I didn't bother using the remote distraction function because I didn't want him to find it and do anything strange. I actually just wanted to move him for a few seconds so that you can push Alexis Queso over the edge. So obviously that takes care of the added second target, and fortuitously our first target, who we syringed at the start of the level, will now have made his way to the toilet where we can carry out a drowning kill. So actually we got 2 accidental kills here. We didn't need accidental kills, but, always helpful. If someone did happen to see a body, it wouldn't lose us the silent assassin rating. We're going to go directly to exactly the same escape route. I used the same exit route here for every stage, I think, except for the 5th and final one, for which there is a very good reason. that we will come to later. Just remember this camera, you do want to shoot that one out as well. Just make sure that you're out of sight of anyone behind something blocking you from view of the upper garden, and get that shot off. So here we go, straight round the side of the ruins to avoid being seen by the gardener enforcer. Hop up here, straight to your right. And down to your left. And then it's just hopping down. Now, so that was easy enough again. You'll see that for the third level, the escalation is that again we have a new target. This is the golfing coach, who they add as the third target. And the gear I would recommend you bring, so you still want to bring obviously a silenced pistol and a emetic syringe, but I would recommend also bringing the micro taser, which if you are playing on Hitman 3 you ought to have unlocked, as it is unlocked very early in the Berlin level on Hitman 3. So yeah, the ICA remote micro taser, that's what you want, and that will help us with Roberto Vargas, the golfing coach. Anyway, so just as we have in all previous levels, you want to immediately get up to the gardener target and syringe him with an emetic syringe. I'm using the pen emetic syringe, but I don't think it matters at all. You do not want to be seen doing that, which is why you'll see that I do it very quickly at the start of each level. So we've put down the micro taser and turned on the water there.
I know.
Unless you do something suspicious to attract the guard there's attention, he will not notice either. Well, he'll never notice the micro taser, that's what the micro denotes in the title. And he won't notice the water having been turned on, provided that you don't do anything to attract his attention. So all of this has been just as it was in the previous level. There, as I mentioned before, I used the crowbar that you can pick up next to Roberto Vargas at the start as the distraction, but it functions in exactly the same way, just gets the other guard here to look away for a moment so that you can push the second target, Alexis Queso, over the edge. Then when you get a notification that Roberto Vargas has noticed the water leak, that's when you activate your micro taser to get the electrocution kill in the water that you turned on, and very shortly after that you can obviously jump through this window and drown the gardener target. And then again we're going to go straight back to the start via the exact same route that we have used the whole time so far. Do remember the camera, you don't want to get caught out by that on your way to the exit. So, as I say, you just want to be careful here. I make sure I'm behind that bush before I whip out the pistol, just in case anyone from the upper garden area there might see you with a pistol, which obviously would be illegal for the disguise you are wearing. Now I'm pretty sure I could have played this third run through for the fourth run through as well, because as you'll see the escalation element is just that they add a requirement that each target must be killed within a very short time frame of each other. I think I actually did that in this run anyway, so it was no more than, I would say, 30 seconds in all in terms of the actual assassinations, because you push the guy over the edge, you activate the remote taser, and then you drown the third target, and all those things happen in very quick succession in the way that I played through this third level anyway. Anyway, there we go, so that's the third level complete with Silent Assassin, and yes, rapid elimination is the escalation, and you must each target must basically die within 30 seconds of the last. As I say, probably could have played the the last run through, but whatever. You'll get another opportunity to see it. So, emetic syringe on the gardener target. Straight over to where Roberto Vargas should be about to walk to make a telephone call on the cliff edge. Stick down your micro taser. Turn on the water. Grab the crowbar.
Francesca.
Okay, let's see.
Everything's unfolding as we would like it to. So here the guard did actually see the water distraction, which was unfortunate. He does not always see it. I think it might have to do with whether you're crouching too much when you do it. So you don't need to crouch. And if you do, it just makes it more likely that you will attract that guard's attention. Use the crowbar to distract the other guard here. And by the way, all that means, if the guard does see your distraction, is that you then won't get the notification when Roberto Vargas is walking back and sees the water, so you'll have to judge it manually. But as you'll see here, I managed that with no problems. You'll see he just goes up some steps, a very slight increase in his altitude, and that's the moment at which you want to activate the micro taser. And then, as I said, straight into the drowning. So, more or less the same, made a bit more difficult by the fact that the guard by the water tap noticed it and turned it off, and therefore we don't get that notification from Roberto Vargas. It does make it easier when you get the notification. If no one else has seen the water tap yet, and Roberto Vargas is the first to see it, then you get a nice notification which basically tells you that's the moment to activate your taser. But if you don't get it, you can judge it manually. Remember the camera on your way to the exit. So hopefully the last couple of playthroughs have shown you well enough how to orchestrate and how to pull off that particular method. And it's more or less the same method that we're going to use for the 5th level, although obviously there is a big complication. So I said this at the start of this playthrough, but the micro taser, if you're interested in where you get it from, it is in the Berlin level, so it's a Hitman 3 level, and you unlock it, I think, at Mastery level 2, so very easy to get from Berlin. And it's an improvement on Hitman 2's remote taser, because this one has the micro designation, which means that no one notices it. I did actually have a look at using the remote taser, not the micro version, and not only will you be noticed when you put it down, but it will also be noticed if you're walking around with it in your hand, so definitely best to avoid and use the micro one. So the escalation for the 5th and final level is obviously landmines, extreme security. Here's what that means in practice. Here's what it's going to mean for you. Just a brief overview of the consequences of falling foul of this particular complication. Yes, I stepped on landmines quite a few times in the making of this video. It's not fun. That's what happens. That's what you want to avoid. So, here's how to do it without setting off the landmines. You can see that there's 2 there that you can run in between to get to our first gardener target to perform our emetic syringing.
Oh God, this is.
So, you know, that's more or less the same strategy, just we need to avoid a landmine. Same thing here. There's a landmine just on the floor there, stopping you from getting to this area directly, so we can vault over a couple of things just to avoid that mine. Pick up the crowbar and make sure you're ready with your remote taser and turning the water on. And then immediately you're going to vault back over the wall.
I did say that.
So just use instinct and be careful of these mines. You can get somewhat close to them without them going off, so you know, if you're sensible about it and reasonably cautious, there's no need to be unduly frightened, despite the scary montage I played a moment ago. So yeah, just watch out for these. You want to basically go to the right of the tree once you've thrown your crowbar, and not too far right because of that one. And then you want to avoid that one that's just next to the flower pot. And basically, if you just do this a few times, like, you know, run through this 4 or 5 times, and by then you will have got the knack of it. And it's not the longest escalation if you're starting as the gardener, so you know. I kept being paranoid and having to use instinct, even though I knew from previous playthroughs that there wasn't a mine to be worried about. So there we go. Essentially the same strategy as for the 4th playthrough, but we're just being very careful of mines. And then the one thing that does change, and I referred to it earlier, is that I think it's best to use a different exit. Just, you know, it doesn't take much longer, and I think it involves less danger from mines, because I'm pretty sure the mines continue into the ruins area, which is just going to make that whole thing a bit of a nightmare. So instead, let's exit out the front. There are still mines up until the front gates, but you can see, just use instinct, be careful, and get to the white Mini here. Beetle, I guess. And drive away. And that's the 5th and final stage of the Gladwyn Simulacrum done, with Silent Assassin on each tier. So all that remains to say is that I really do hope that you found this useful. If you did, please feel free, and indeed please feel encouraged and requested to like this video, and possibly even to subscribe. Thank you so much for your time and for watching this. Goodbye.